On August 10th, Sunday, August 10th, at the Orchard Beach, which we call the Bronx Riviera, we will have an incredible concert dedicated to retiring number 21. August 10th at 1 o'clock, La Típica 73 will perform. And the second show is at 3 o'clock. So 1 and 3 o'clock, Típica 73, Orchard Beach, and the entire concert is dedicated to retiring Puerto Clemente's number 21.
Fielder in the game of baseball, Roberto Clemente. Bobby, congratulations on a great World Series.
Thank you, Bob. And before I say anything in English, I would like to say something for my mother and father in Spanish. En el día más grande de mi vida, para los nenes, la bendición mía y que mi padre me dé mi bendición en Puerto Rico.
Roberto Clemente.
Good evening. Welcome to a special edition of the Queen's Grapevine. This is your host, Wallingford Lee. Tonight on the Queen's Grapevine, we want to talk about the campaign to retire number 21. Number 21 belonged to Roberto Clemente, one of the most complete ball players that ever came to the major leagues. You talk about 5 tools, I think this young man might have had 10 tools. Roberto Clemente was a very gifted athlete that played in the Pittsburgh Pirates. Before going to the Pirates, you need to know that he was into the Dodgers organization. Back in 1954, he was signed to a $5,000 and a $10,000 bonus. And the Dodgers had him hidden in Montreal for many, many months and years. Even though he was doing fantastic, they didn't have space for him. And the Pirates found out about him, and they made him his own. And the story is a long one. But today we want to talk about not only about his accomplishment, but more importantly, how he died, why he died, and what does he bring to the mix. We want to talk about why Major League Baseball have not taken the steps to actually retire the number of this fantastic and great ball players. So tonight on the Grapevine, you're going to have the opportunity to know a little bit about Clemente's history and the purpose why we're trying to get his number retired. It gives us a great deal of pleasure and, of course, satisfaction to have on our show a gentleman that's part of that campaign. I'm talking about Julio Pavon, the president of Latino Sports. Welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting us.
Well, it's good to have you. You know, one of the reasons that we wanted to have you, we know about this major campaign to retire number 21, which is deservingly so. I think the same thing was done for Jackie Robinson, and I think that Roberto has so much accolade that his number should be retired. Where are we in terms of getting the number retired?
Well, basically, we started this campaign in 2006. Mm-hmm. Today is 2014, and we are maybe just scratching the surface, because basically it's an order that it's very simple. You don't need to have a legislation. You don't need to have voting by members. You don't have to have all the major league teams approve it. It's just the commissioner, whether he says it's a yes or a no. But just that act alone has been very difficult because the commissioner has not seen it as a priority for Major League Baseball to retire number 21. So as of this point, you know, we still have the same response we get all the time from Major League Baseball, which is it's under consideration.
For how long can he continue with that? It's under consideration. I mean, does Bud Selig understand the importance of who Roberto Clemente is?
I think that Major League Baseball understands the importance of Clemente. I just don't think that they see, you know, the value. They don't see the value. They see Clemente perhaps as they see in their own eyes like everybody else, which is a baseball player who happened to be good, very good. Like you said, should have been maybe beyond a 5-2 player, because, you know, that's what he represented. And for that, they feel that he's in the Hall of Fame, which is the ultimate glory of any baseball player, is to reach the Hall of Fame. So they figured, well, what else should we do? On top of that, they've also have this award that they give every year called the Roberto Clemente Award, which they give it in the third game of the World Series to any of the baseball players who are presently playing, who have been one of the best players in terms of giving out information or doing things with the community, giving back to the community. That came from Clemente. So they feel they've done a lot on that. And they just don't understand that that little part about giving a lot went beyond being on the field and giving a check, or going to a not-for-profit organization and giving a check, or visiting a hospital because it's a popular thing to do, and you're going to have the press there taking pictures of you visiting a child. Clemente did that 10 times over.
And then some.
And no publicity. No publicity. The things that Clemente did, I don't think that there's any baseball player today or since Clemente, I'll even go further back, perhaps when the days of Babe Ruth, who used to go to the hospitals, to the orphanage, because he was an orphan.
Children and stuff.
And the stuff that Babe Ruth did, maybe with the Negro Leagues. Perhaps it's the only baseball player that can compare a little bit, but what Clemente did in the community goes way beyond that. I don't think that one baseball player today can even go up to his ankles in terms of the grandeur
and
of what Clemente
accomplishments.
did. Incredible. I mean, there's so many things that Clemente did. I mean, he funded the Black Panther Party's breakfast program. Clemente, was a strong organizer and supporter of the rights of baseball players. That's why he was the delegate. He was one of the first delegates from when they started what today is the Players Association. So he was out there organizing, right? He was an activist. I mean, he spoke out verbally against Jim Crow laws that was not popular to speak about back then.
At that time,
when he first came up in the mid '50s, and he goes to spring training in Florida, the places that people think Florida is Disney World, but Florida is deep south.
It sure is. It sure is.
And the areas that he went to play for, Fort Myers and that area, they had strong Jim Crow laws. Clemente organized and fought against that to the point that he was actually allowed to then get the station wagon for the owner and for the general manager, to actually go and get his own food, because when Clemente first got there, they would put him all on a bus after practice, and they would go and take the white players to go eat.
And people of color, Latino, weren't allowed to.
No, and the people of color and could not go in. So Clemente, and at that time, there's only a few of them, a few blacks in Clemente who were in the minor leagues in spring training, trying to get up to the major leagues. But Clemente noticed that the few black players and him were outside, and then he asked why. And they told him, because in Puerto Rico we don't have this. We have a different form of discrimination, not like that, not that obvious. And so he fought against it. He told the baseball players, the next one that leaves this bus to get food next time they bring us is going to have a problem with me, because we should not be doing it. He went to the manager the following day and told the manager
and confront him.
Why is it that we have to wait for the players to go eat, and then they come out, they bring us a sandwich or so, and then they take us to go eat? That's not right. We're supposed to be a team. So the manager said, hey, I don't have a problem with that. It's not me. These are the laws here. If you have a problem, go take it up to the general manager.
Wow.
He went up to the general manager, spoke to the general manager, and told the general manager the same thing. What did the general manager do? Take out his keys and told him, here, from now you take my station wagon. Now, that episode, let's dissect that a little bit. This was in the 1950s, where a baseball player who is a minor league player at that
time,
right, who's a black Puerto Rican who doesn't speak that much English, is doing this, and a rookie doesn't cause waves.
You be quiet.
There was no Players Association to defend you. You caused too
no
much
union.
problem. No union. You caused a problem.
You're out.
How about you out? There's about another 50 guys that want your position. Clemente didn't think like that. He actually went and confronted these people, and he got some change, at least for him and those few, players of color. He got a key so that he no longer has to wait. There are so many stories about Clemente. Clemente organizing the boycott. People don't know about the boycott. Yeah, there was a boycott. When Martin Luther King was killed, I believe he was killed on April 7th,
1968.
Baseball starts around that period. And Clemente felt that it would be disrespectful to have a game until they buried this man's body. While they were
and his thought process was right.
Nobody else did it. But Clemente organized the team. And guess what? The Pittsburgh Pirates did not play 3 games. It was organized by a black Puerto Rican, not by an African American, by a black Puerto Rican who felt it was disrespectful to play a game while the body of Martin Luther King, a great civil rights leader, lay in mourning. So therefore, no games. It was a Puerto Rican that organized that.
And he was not afraid to take the steps. One of the key things in that surprised me about Bud Selig, who happens to be the commissioner, we need to understand how Clemente died. Clemente died in 1972 in December, okay, doing something that very few players have the gall, the attitude, and the strength to do. Nicaragua went through a very serious earthquake. Prior to that, Clemente was down there for a couple of months. Clemente took an airplane with a lot of food, clothing, taking it to help people, okay, who had just went through a devastating earthquake, okay? And on the way taking off from Puerto Rico, this man lost his life, didn't have an opportunity to raise his children, to be with his wife. So it's important to understand, those of you who are watching the program might not understand and know who Roberto Clemente is. It backs up everything that Mr. Pavon is talking about his leadership qualities, his purpose in life is not only hitting the ball and running and throwing. The man cared and had a strong soul. So it's important to know why today we're talking about this campaign to retire number 21. It's not a gratuitous situation, but it's factual about the things that he have done, not only in baseball, but in the community.
That's right. And that's exactly what the situation is with Clemente. Clemente did so much in the community. People just don't know. I mean, listen, we could be here all afternoon if I was to tell you the places that I've been to when we showed our documentary and we go to a particular town and we show something on Clemente and somebody come up to me and says, yo, let me tell you about something about Clemente. You know, and this is not in Pittsburgh. This could be in Cleveland. This could be in New York. This could be in Poughkeepsie. This could be in Hartford. This could be in Philadelphia. Always somebody will come up to me, black, white, or brown. Majority of the times, black, right? Come up to me and tell me, oh, let me tell you something about this man. I was a cook in the hotel. And this guy, Clemente, every time the team came to stay in the hotel, guess where he came? To the kitchen.
Wow. Wow.
You know, he came to the kitchen because most of the blacks and Latinos were working at the time, they're working in the kitchen. So he would go to the kitchen. And because he wanted his food cooked a certain way. So if he wants a steak, he'll goof and says, hey, I want it with dame mucha cebollita, put a lot of, onions on my steak, echar un poquito de arroz, a little this, But then while he was there, he gave these guys, like autographs, tickets.
He was a care man.
He said, how many players that would actually go into a kitchen, man, to see,
and talk to their own.
Poor people just working in the kitchen, dishwashers, cooks, waiters. And Clemente was always like in his game when he was around people like that. And that's the type of person Clemente was. What unfortunately, Lee, is that Puerto Ricans, we know Clemente in Puerto Rico. We know Clemente that when he went to Puerto Rico, he did great things. The incident that you stated about taking the supplies. That incident goes beyond the fact that he died in the plane crash. When that took place in Nicaragua, first of all, he had no alliances and no allegiances to Nicaragua. He had just gone there as a coach to manage a team that played, and that was it.
Period.
But as a Latino who was suffering because he saw other Latinos suffer,
it was a devastating earthquake.
he decided to do something to help. But it wasn't like there was no association, so you call the Red Cross, or you call, Citizens for the Betterment of Humanity. No, this was Clemente himself who organized
and took it upon
himself to ask the people of Puerto Rico to help the brothers and sisters in Nicaragua, to the point that he himself would go to Hiram Bithorn, where the tables were, that people would come and bring stuff because they wanted to see Clemente.
Sure.
So he would put himself there. He didn't send other people. And then he started organizing clinics for kids around the island so people can pay $5. Bring your kid for $5 and Clemente is going to give him a clinic. And he used that money to buy the equipment. He's had sent 2 plane loads already that had been already in Nicaragua. But the problem was Nicaragua was ruled by a dictator named Anastasio Somoza. And Somoza and his son were not allowing the supplies to leave the airport. And the people that he has sent over already, he has sent nurses, he has sent technicians, he has sent mechanics to put together. You know what they needed? They needed X-ray equipment. Clemente got enough money, he was able to purchase some used X-ray equipment, send it over there, send the technicians, send the nurses, send the people to administer all that. But they were all there twiddling their thumbs because the equipment would not leave the airport, the supplies, the stuff he sent.
Because Somoza put a hole in everything.
His son was coordinating all the relief efforts, everything coming into Managua Airport was not leaving. So they called Clemente and told him, Clemente, Esto no está saliendo del aeropuerto. This is not leaving the airport. Tenemos que hacer algo. We need to do something. And Clemente said, well, look, I am going to continue to raise money here and send supplies, and we have another shipment. We'll do some more stuff. They said, but it's not going anywhere. Perhaps if you come here,
Wow.
then that will help. And Clemente said, I don't think that should do that because I can be here raising more money.
Money to get more
But they
things
told him,
down
but
there.
it's not going anywhere. But if a person with your grandeur,
Mystique
your
and
prestige comes here, the international press will put pressure on that. They will release the stuff. So Clemente said, okay to that. So that last plane was not the same plane that had gone before. This one, they had more stuff. So they needed a bigger plane. And that's where the other story comes in, that there was a plane that belonged to this guy who really was like un listo, hustler. And he had gotten this plane, got it from this place in Florida called Cockroach Alley, where all the old planes go get retired. He had bought this plane. It wasn't certified to fly, but he got it to get to Puerto Rico, where he had mechanics work on it. The day before Clemente contracted them, they had taken off on a flight just to test it. The landing gear broke.
Oof.
But because of the people that he knew, whatever, they did the right things and they got it certified because Clemente was going by and he saw that they needed a bigger plane. He saw this other plane. He saw them working on it. He went into the hangar to speak to these people to ask them, is this plane available? And they said yes, when they should have said no, because they wanted the money. And Clemente then said, we got it. We got a plane. So they packed that plane. Then they packed it wrong.
Overloaded.
It wasn't secured. There's a certain way you have to pack certain planes when they're taking off.
So even up.
Exactly. They didn't know none of that because they had never done this.
They just packed it.
They just packed it and went up. The plane took off, and the rest is history. It just plummeted down into the Atlantic, which happens to be the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean
in Puerto Rico.
In the world. You can take the Mount Everest and put it upside down into that section, and you won't see the tip of it. That's how deep that area is. And that's why Clemente is in the sea. And one of the things that one of his sons, Roberto Jr., once said to me that he had heard from a nun, which was that the nun had said that Clemente's body could not be like everybody else on earth. It had to be in water because there it can go all over the world and just touch as many people as possible.
Interesting indeed. When we get back here in the Queen's Grapevine, we're going to continue talking about the campaign to retire number 21 of this amazing ball player, and more important ball player, this amazing human being, Roberto Clemente Walker from Carolina, Puerto Rico. We'll be right back on the Queen's Grapevine.
Pittsburgh Pirates outfielder Roberto Clemente headed up relief efforts in his native Puerto Rico for victims of the Nicaraguan earthquake. Late last night, he was killed when the cargo plane that he was aboard crashed shortly after takeoff from San Juan.
I mean, of course, I was crying. I literally went out in the street and was walking around thinking, well, he can't be dead. He can't be dead.
My father, Bill Guilfoyle, was the public relations director of the Pirates that year, and he called the media and let the world know that his friend Roberto was dead.
Roberto Clemente was killed at age 38. His body was never found. In his native Puerto Rico, 3 days of national mourning were proclaimed. In Pittsburgh, it was his last regular season hit that left fans with the memory of a legendary milestone.
On August 10th, Sunday, August 10th, at the Orchard Beach, which we call the Bronx Riviera, we will have an incredible concert dedicated to retiring number 21. August 10th at 1 o'clock, La Típica 73 will perform. And the second show is at 3 o'clock. So 1 and 3 o'clock, Típica 73, Orchard Beach, and the entire concert is dedicated to retiring Roberto Clemente's number 21.
And we're back here in the Queen's Grapevine as we continue talking about the great Roberto Clemente. They used to play with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Tremendous ball player. The last year that they played, which was 1972, he got his hit number 3,000 against the New York Mets. John Matlack was a left-handed pitcher pitching for the Mets. And it goes without saying that this wonderful ball player happens to be in the Hall of Fame. You know, we're here with Julio Pavon, who was kind enough to sit here and talk to us about the campaign, the purpose, why it was doing, what happened with that plane, how it went down in Puerto Rico, the moment it took off, and how he lost his life. It's important to know, those of you who might not be familiar, Clemente was so well loved and respected by all of his peers and players that I remember clearly Manny Sanguillén, the catcher of the Pirates, rented a boat. And for about 2 or 3 days, he was down in the waters looking for his best friend body, and Roberto Clemente was never found. But as we talk, Mr. Pavon, you're very well aware of some of the things that I talked about. Where do we go from here in terms of the campaign? How can we help? Can the Major League Latino ball players be part of this? Are they a part of it? Is there a plus side that where they can come in and help?
Sure. I mean, everybody can help. You see the poster behind me. There's a poster back here that this was helped and designed a little bit because of Major League Baseball players who I went up to them and I said, listen, it was a shame that they had 100 years of baseball and not one Puerto Rican, not one Latino was in it. And if anything, Clemente should have been on that team.
Absolutely.
So we then got permission to do this poster, and we call it, as you can see, Nuestro Pelotero del Siglo, our player of the century. Because even though he didn't make the Major League Baseball 100 players of 100 years of baseball, we said he belonged there. So we put him.
And rightfully so.
And those pictures and that idea came with me talking to Puerto Rican and Latino baseball players that we told them, hey, don't you think that Clemente should get some respect? And they all did. And they all support Retired 21. But baseball players supporting 21, and you and I and the people that are watching this, the best way for us to do this is it just takes one individual, which is the Commissioner of Baseball. And the way to do it is, I think, is to basically put the pressure on the commissioner. And the way we're going to put the pressure on is that we have a petition. If you go to our website, retire21.org.
Everybody certainly wants Bobby to get that big number 3,000. Matlack on the 0-1. Bobby hits a dive into the gap in the left center field. There she is.
Retire21.org. If you go to that site, there is a very clear area where you can just click, and just by clicking and putting your email,
comments.
It puts the petition, and then of course you want to put a comment, you could,
Sure.
but that petition counts. Also, we have petitions, physical papers that people can ask us for. They'll call your station, call you, and you can easily send them one. You give me the address, we'll send them a petition or two. Take it to your church, take it to your factory, take it to your office, take it to your club, take it to your association, take it to your block association. Take it to people everywhere. Make copies, make Xerox copies and send it out. And if we all do this, if we get petitions and we put the pressure on there, the interesting thing is 2015, January, a new commissioner. A new
will be in place, right? Because Bud Selig is retiring.
So what better way to welcome the new commissioner than to tell this new commissioner, if you want to establish yourself as a person of integrity and history in baseball,
Do the right thing.
do the right thing and retire this person's number, because this is not a Puerto Rican thing. This is not even a baseball thing. This is a humanistic thing of a man.
And it's the right thing to do.
Who did so much that it's just easy for them to do that. Also, I want to invite everybody on August 10th. We're having a concert.
Which is 2 weeks from now.
At the Bronx Riviera, Orchard Beach. And we're having a group called, some of you might remember this group. If you're young, you might not know, but trust me, you're going to love it. It's Típica 73. La Típica 73 is going to perform in a concert, and we're dedicating the entire concert.
Wow.
To Retire 21. So we're going to have petitions there, we're going to have flyers there, we're going to have people sign petitions, and we're going to have a great time listening to music.
Well, we have approximately maybe a minute and a half. Another way to do this as we sign off is to put a certain amount of pressure and the press. They like to write, they like to talk. Maybe we need to engage them a little bit, to put a little pressure on Bud Selig and whoever the new commission is coming in, to know and bring their attention to know how important this is, because this is something that should and must take place.
And I think what you're doing here is admirable. The fact that there's community organizations, community news networks, not-for-profit news networks that are the ones who are carrying the baton to keep this alive. But you know what? Think about it. You know how long it took to retire Jackie Robinson's number, which is the only other number retired? 16 years.
Yes.
So we only have like 6 years already, right? Or 7? Well, that's not bad. So that we've made so much inroads that because of our efforts, the Roberto Clemente family has gotten more money. But before it was an embarrassment what they used to get.
Now
They're getting, at least something. The fact that there's more attention on Clemente's name. The fact that Major League Baseball had the All-Star game in Pittsburgh and all the players wore this sweatband that had RCM, Roberto Clemente, RCW, Roberto Clemente Walker. So they're always doing things to bring the name out. And all we're saying is that's all great, that's all fine. I'm glad you're doing the right thing.
But let's do the right one.
But let's do the big right one.
Well, Mr. Pavon, on behalf of the family of Grapevine, I want to take the opportunity right now to thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your interest.
taking on such a major issue, which I think is extremely important to all people national. And to Bud Selig, I hope if he has the opportunity to watch a program of this magnitude, we're not CBS or NBC, but we're a community program that have our eyes and ears everywhere. So do the right thing. And again, thank you so much for watching our program, and I hope it has been to your liking. This is Wallingford Lee saying goodbye.
August 10th, Sunday, August 10th, at the Orchard Beach, which we call the Bronx Riviera, we will have an incredible concert dedicated to retiring number 21. August 10th at 1 o'clock, La Típica 73 will perform, and the second show is at 3 o'clock. So 1 and 3 o'clock, Típica 73, Orchard Beach, and the entire concert is dedicated to retiring Puerto Clemente's number 21.